The kimono has long been much more than just clothing in Japan. It stands as a powerful symbol of tradition, identity, and artistic expression. At the heart of this iconic garment lies silk, a fiber prized for its delicate shine, soft texture, and ability to carry intricate dyeing and weaving patterns. The story of Japan's silk kimono industry stretches back centuries, tracing its roots to the refined environments of imperial courts and regional workshops well before the modern era. Silk's journey in Japan began with the introduction of sericulture practices from the Asian continent, eventually evolving into highly specialized techniques that became uniquely Japanese. By the Heian period, roughly between the 8th and 12th centuries, silk had secured its prestige as the fabric of choice for aristocrats and courtiers. The kimono, though still developing in form, was already emerging as a key item reflecting social rank and aesthetic taste. Imperial demand fueled innovation and refinement, and the court set exacting standards that would ripple through workshops nationwide. These workshops were often small, family-run operations based in regions blessed with mulberry trees, the source of silkworm food. Each region developed distinctive weaving and dyeing methods, passed down through generations with stringent secrecy to protect trade secrets and local reputations. Techniques such as weaving with multiple types of silk threads and hand-painting patterns required both immense skill and time, transforming simple raw silk into breathtaking textiles that embodied the spirit and identity of their makers. The methods behind producing these silk fabrics were guarded with considerable care. In many cases, knowledge was transferred only from master to apprentice and closely held to maintain exclusivity. This secrecy not only safeguarded the economic value of these textiles, but also ensured that style and quality varied widely from one region to another. The interaction between imperial demand and regional craftsmanship created a rich tapestry of silk textile traditions that helped cement the kimono's status as a cultural icon. Further distinguishing Japan's silk textiles was the intricate interplay of color and pattern. Seasonal motifs, nature-inspired designs, and symbolic imagery were woven or dyed meticulously to honor cultural values and aesthetic principles. Artisans worked in near invisibility, yet their craft has endured across centuries as the foundation of what many now recognize as the classic Japanese kimono. Understanding the significance of the silk kimono requires more than a glance at the fabric itself. It is a gateway into Japan's social history, artistic achievement, and the complex networks of trade and tradition that flourished before industrialization reshaped the country. From the majestic halls of the imperial court to the humble yet skilled workshops scattered across the archipelago, the silk kimono industry embodies a story of endurance, artistry, and cultural identity. As we embark on this exploration of Japan's silk kimono history, it becomes clear that the story is equally about the people and places who wielded their looms in quiet creative labor, and about the grand cultural narratives enhanced and preserved by their work. This layered history sets the stage for how a traditional craft eventually intersected with global fashion, carrying Japan's heritage far beyond its shores. The Edo period, spanning from the early 17th to the mid-19th century, marked a pivotal era when Japan's silk industry began to extend far beyond its long-established local and courtly roots. During this time, stable governance under the Tokugawa shogunate enabled economic growth and the development of regional economies, which in turn created favorable conditions for the silk industry to flourish. Although silk production had always been tied to specific locales, increased demand within the country encouraged many regions to enhance their sericulture practices, transforming sericulture from a primarily artisanal pursuit into a vital component of local economies. Silkworm cultivation depends fundamentally on silkworms eating mulberry leaves, and the widespread planting of mulberry trees during this period was essential in supporting the growth of silk production. Villages in regions such as Gunma, Yamanashi, and Nagano became known for their rich mulberry plantations and expertise in raising healthy silkworms. These areas gradually emerged as influential centers of sericulture, benefiting from both natural resources and the growing domestic market for silk textiles. Parallel to these developments was the refinement and preservation of traditional dyeing techniques, among which yuzen stands out. Named after its creator, Miyazaki Yuzensai, in the late 17th century, yuzen dyeing introduced the use of rice paste resist to outline and protect specific areas of fabric from dye, enabling detailed, multicolored patterns. This method allowed artisans to express intricate designs that reflected nature, seasonal changes, and cultural symbolism. Yuzen became closely linked to silk kimono production and remained an important traditional technique, even as mechanization began to influence textile manufacturing in later years. The Meiji Restoration, beginning in 1868, was a turning point that rapidly transformed Japan's economy and social structures. The government actively promoted modernization policies, including the expansion of sericulture as an export industry aligned with global trade networks. Recognizing silk's value in international markets, policies encouraged the establishment of sericulture schools and research institutions to improve silk quality and increase production efficiency. Scientific approaches to breeding silkworms and controlling diseases were introduced, raising output and reinforcing Japan's reputation for quality silk. During the Meiji period, Japan's silk-producing regions expanded their reach by constructing transportation infrastructure and developing regional cooperation, facilitating the movement of goods from rural supply centers to urban ports. Cities like Yokohama and Kobe became hubs from which silk products, including finished silk kimonos, were shipped abroad. This era also witnessed changing fashions in the West, where silk kimonos became symbols of exotic elegance and refinement. The growing global fascination with Japanese art and culture, often termed Japanism, combined with improvements in international trade agreements, opened new markets for Japanese silk textiles. Exported kimonos were both luxury items and fashion statements, sought after in Europe and America for their craftsmanship and unique aesthetic. To cater to international tastes, some producers adapted traditional designs to appeal to foreign customers, blending Japanese motifs with Western preferences. However, despite commercial pressures, traditional dyeing and weaving techniques continued to be integral, preserving the silk kimono's cultural authenticity even as it entered global fashion arenas. The post-World War II period brought profound challenges to Japan's silk kimono industry, as modernization and shifting consumer preferences disrupted the traditional artisan-centered economy. The rapid spread of synthetic fabrics, such as rayon and nylon, offered cheaper, more versatile alternatives to natural silk. These new materials could be produced en masse with far less manual labor, which dramatically altered the textile landscape, both domestically and internationally. While silk had been treasured for its natural luster and texture, synthetics appealed to a broader market seeking affordable and easy-care clothing. This shift led to a steep decline in demand for traditional silk kimonos, which were labor-intensive and expensive. Concurrently, the transformation of everyday fashion played a crucial role. Western-style clothing became predominant in post-war Japan amid urbanization and social change. The kimono, once an everyday garment, grew increasingly relegated to ceremonial occasions and special events. Young generations found kimono wearing less practical and less aligned with rapidly modernizing identities. For many artisans who had relied on stable local markets and specific commissions, these changes created economic hardship, threatening the survival of centuries-old crafts. Despite these challenges, the silk kimono industry managed to retain cultural significance through dedicated preservation efforts and renewed interest in traditional arts. Government initiatives and cultural organizations stepped in to recognize kimono making as an important intangible cultural heritage, promoting education and apprenticeships designed to pass skills to new generations. Certain regions maintained their reputations as centers for sericulture and silk textile artistry, ensuring the survival of distinctive dyeing and weaving methods. Seasonal motifs, hand-painted designs, and techniques such as yuzen-resisted complete industrialization preserved for their aesthetic and cultural importance. Internationally, Japan's silk kimono continued to captivate the imagination of designers and collectors. The allure of the kimono's unique craftsmanship influenced contemporary fashion trends well beyond Japan's borders. High-end fashion houses occasionally integrated kimono-inspired silhouettes, patterns, and textile techniques into their collections, blending traditional artistry with modern design. This intersection has created a dynamic dialogue between past and present, where historical methods inform innovation. Today, many contemporary Japanese designers actively reference these artisanal legacies, highlighting sustainability, local craftsmanship, and cultural storytelling in their work. Exhibitions and fashion events worldwide feature silk kimonos not only as cultural artifacts, but as sources of inspiration, showcasing the continuing relevance of this heritage. Furthermore, the preservation of historical production methods serves more than aesthetic goals. It reinforces cultural identity and supports rural economies tied to sericulture. Organizations collaborate with artisans to refine techniques for modern tastes without sacrificing authenticity. Sustainable practices in silk production emphasize ecological balance, linking environmental concerns with traditional knowledge passed down through generations. In this way, the silk kimono industry embodies a resilient cultural ecosystem where craftsmanship, history, and contemporary creativity coexist. The industry's legacy is not simply a nostalgic story of decline, but a testament to adaptability and reverence for heritage. By maintaining the balance between honoring tradition and embracing change, Japan's silk kimono artisans continue to shape both domestic cultural life and global fashion narratives, securing the silk kimono's place as a living, evolving emblem of Japanese artistry.